Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Do you have a sump pump that just doesn't function down in the crawl space, down in the basement, or even in the backyard? Let's take a look at how easy it is to replace that sump pump with a new Zoller M98. Ed in Raleigh, North Carolina, our franchise office in the North Carolinas, is going to walk you through and show you just how quickly you can replace the pump and just solve that problem completely. Let's take a look.
Welcome back, Dr. Drains with Apple Drains in North Carolina. We've got a really nice simple job this morning. What we're going to do is we're going to change out a sump pump for a customer. It's been in about 20 years. It's Zoller, of course, it's lasted. We're going to take this pump out. I'm not sure the model number. We're going to put back in Zoller M98, new check valve. We're going to test it. We're going to do a little bit of digging on where it drains out there. Over the years, it's kind of grown up. We want it to drain out a little bit. So we're going to do this one step by step. So what we're going to do, most importantly, pull the plug. That sounds simple, but you want to pull the plug. He's got a beautiful little hanger here. And the next most important thing, especially in the springtime here in North Carolina, we got some copperheads and critters, and you don't want to get scared by a little toad, or a frog rather. So you look in the pit, you kind of get in there and just give it a bump. Let them know you're here, so they'll scurry away, or you'll at least see them. All right, there's nothing down in there. Robert has taken off the no hub, also called the fern coat. He's gonna go ahead and reach down in there. He's gonna pull out the pump, set it off to the side. And again, we've already checked for snakes and critters. Now what the customer's gonna do is they want to keep this pump. It still operates. We tested it when I was here last time. It's been in for 20 years, so he wants to make sure if he has any water problems that he's got a backup pump, and this new M98 is gonna run and run and run for a very long time. So this is a preventative thing. If you're a DIY, it's easy to do. We're gonna show you how to replace a pump. Usually as we're putting in a new one, this is just a simple replacement. You simply just take, Robert, if you can hand me those bands right there. Yes, sir. You just simply take your 5/16, you loosen the bands, you slide the, Robert, can you pull that off? Is that gonna come up for us there? All right, this is what we run into. So when they put the fern coat on, this is great. I'm glad that happened, Robert. What happened is when they put the fern coat on, apparently they did some gluing up above. So we're gonna have to, I wanna put a new no hub on just so we know everything's new. So the glue has gotten in there, so we're either gonna cut that off and put a new fitting on, put a new a PVC fitting on there, or we're gonna work on it a little bit and get it off there. But either way, we'll be back with you and show you how to put it back in. Now, I do want Sarah to look in the pit. Down at the bottom, we're gonna make sure there's no nasties in there. We're gonna make sure there's no chunks, nothing that would clog up a new pump. We're gonna, while we got it open like this, we're gonna go ahead and get this cleaned out real quick. All right, so what I had inspected, as soon as I pulled it out, Sarah said, ew, on the bottom of the pit, we got about 1 inch of just sand and clay and just gook. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and clean this out, and that way we're starting with a very nice clean pit. So what we're gonna do is, usually in the bottom of these pits, people will put bricks in there. We're actually gonna put this stand. And what it is, this sits on the stand, so it gets it off the bottom a little bit. And if you notice, the pump actually pulls from the bottom. So if you get rocks that get in the bottom there, now if you're a DIY and you don't want to spend the money for this, which I think is like $30 or $40, you can definitely put a couple bricks under there if you wish. But this is made from Zoller. This is a Zoller part. If you notice the holes in there, that allows it to pull water straight up through there. It doesn't block the inlets of the pump. It's designed for this pump, and we try to use Zoller products with Zoller products.
Hey, Robert here with Apple Drains. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to dig just a nice shallow trench right here. This is coming from the sump pump, and it's just rising right here. So we're going to dig a trench right here just to help get rid of some of that water.
All right, so what we're gonna do is kind of tight, but feel me down in here. We're gonna go ahead and screw this in, and we're gonna hand tighten it. Get it on there, we'll just get it in there good and tight. So what we're also gonna do is we're going to drill a little hole right here. Why do we do that? Because the instructions say so, but most importantly, it allows the water to drain out of this pipe back into the pit So when the pump starts, it's not starting with a bunch of pressure on it and it'll wear the pump out. And then once we get this cut to size, we're going to put our Zoller check valve on. And if we notice there, it's got an arrow going up. So it's going to pump away from the pump this way. So I always make sure to put it on right there. All right, so when we come back, we'll have this all in, and just a huge tip for you guys. Make sure you dry fit these, which means don't put any glue on it. Get everything in there, get it set to make sure everything's going to fit. Last thing you want to do is put some glue on there and then you have to cut it off and redo fittings. It's aggravating and it's a waste of money. So what we've done, we've connected everything up, we dry fit, we had to cut some fittings out because it never goes like you planned, so you had to have some fittings. So if you look down here, you notice this comes out of the ground, and for the pump to sit where we wanted it, it's a little off kilter. See, that's what these are for, these Ferncos. They're stainless steel bands. They seal and they seal, so it can be off a little bit. We use them in the ground quite a bit. Also, if we look down here, you're going to see that this is a guard. You want to make sure your float goes up and down, but this guard actually will protect that float switch from stuff falling in, you know, from people putting these in the wrong way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run some water through here, and then we'll come back to you.
Robert with Apple Drains. All right, so we put in this sump pump, replaced it. You want to make sure you're gluing where you need to, tighten your bands down, make sure there's no leaks. All right, this is your little float switch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to manually ignite the pump. All right, so our pump's about to cut on. And the pump will pump the water through the check valve and out to our drain.
Great video, Ed. Don't forget to check out all of the videos on Dr. Drains, as well as all the videos here on our YouTube channel and all of our franchises as well. You will learn so much. Let's take a look at another one. This one is in Cary, North Carolina, and the sump pump is down in a very steep driveway, and it's protecting a walkout basement basically. But this is a Watchdog pump, and you know the Watchdog pump has a battery backup. When these things fail, they fail. And we're going to put in a new Zoller M98. Take a look. So the Zoller M98 sets up the same way as the Zoller M53. We start with a male threaded 1.5" adapter that screws into this port. When you get this on here, you know, hand tight. Next, we're going to make a measurement for our riser up to a check valve. This will be the check valve. Remember, check valves only allow water to flow one way. The only real difference is that we need to drill a little weep hole right here in our riser to release the pressure that builds between the pump and the valve, because we don't want it to suck air. It can seize up sometimes, but I've never seen it happen. So let's go ahead and make that measurement. Okay, so I made the measurement. Now I'm just going to drill the weep hole. This is a 3/16 inch hole, and you want to try to make it vertical, just straight through, so that water doesn't spray up. Now we're going to go ahead and plumb all this up. This pump's heavy. Good amount of glue for your first piece of the riser. This goes right into that fitting. You twist and hold. Perfect. Now we're going to set the pump down in and put the lid on. Remember, it is heavy, so then we put our lid on to line it up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and secure it up. You'll have bands allow you access to the discharge, the riser, in the future, as well as this check valve, but no hubs are nice. Just as tight as you can make it. And that's it. So a real easy, replacement. Problem here was that this Watchdog pump, I think that came from Home Depot, but whoever makes Watchdog really didn't function the way it's supposed to. It has a battery backup. None of it really worked. So we went ahead and put a new Zoller M98, and it's a 1/2 horsepower pump. Pumps about 120 gallons a minute at a 0 head, but this has got about a 4 or 5 foot rise, the head coming up. It's also pumping way out to the back. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day. Don't forget about live help, video consultation via Skype. Sign up online.